this was, I asked you to fill out this particular table. And I'll go over this for one example. But prior to that, I want to talk about something that you have already done. A couple of you, who sent this one? The first one? Is there okay. What's your name again?
Bharat, sir.
Bharat. Okay, yeah. Okay, so Bharat, I did respond to you, but here is the thing, right?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
okay. What is the hypothesis here? Hypotheses here are supposed to be the problems, okay? And what do I mean by problems? If you go to the lean canvas, there is this 3 problems, right? So this particular table was to understand or assume or say that these were problems, okay? And then what you're doing is problem number 1 is here, problem number 2, problem number 3 is listed here. And then when you talk to the person, interview,
Yes, sir.
you're, is this problem true? Is this problem true for them? Is this problem correct or not? So those are the 3 hypotheses. Then current resolution, and this is correct. See, current resolution here. See, on this one, Bharat, what does this number stand for?
That problems, expenses.
Expenses, cost. Okay, the total cost is high. Cost is high. If the cost is high, what is it? Is 1,000 rupees per month or 1,000 rupees per day, per hour? That has to
Sir,
be clear.
per month.
Per month. Okay, so you need to put it, right? The
Okay, sir.
hypothesis would be cost of solution, current solution, or cost to the person for not doing the cleaning or recycling is 1,000 rupees per month. Or in this case, cost of taking out the waste is high. 1,000 rupees per month I have to pay to get the waste removed. Okay, so you have to put that. So what you're doing, your solution would be, hey, don't spend this 1,000, we'll come and collect it. So you will save this 1,000 rupees,
Yes, sir.
and therefore you don't have to dump either. Okay, now what is hypothesis 2? What is this 2 to 3 hours a month? What does that mean?
The
Time
time
spent?
lost for the problem.
Okay, time spent. So you're spending a lot of time to handle the problem. So you have to hypothesize, say, too much time spent, 2 to 3 hours a month. Now, is that really high in the grand scheme of things? That is something you have to confirm. Oh, 2, 3 hours, no big deal. Out of 40 hours of a week that I work, 2, 3 hours a month is less than an hour.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So your solution has to be, oh, you don't have to spend even those 2, 3 hours, which is I'll go and collect it, right? That's what I understand. So here, what is this current resolution? This is alternatives. In your lean canvas, what are these? Existing alternatives, right? So that's what you see. Current resolution is dumping. They have the option of dumping, recycling, dumping, or tar road or composting. These are the options.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
And this would be the competition to you. Okay. Now, going back to person,
Yes, sir.
this person is what in your lean canvas? In your lean canvas, the person is this customer segment, target customer.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So you would say target customer Gopal, Dhanush. Okay, what are they? Are they farmers? Are they householders? Rural householders, urban householders? What is that, right?
Okay, sir.
You better have that in mind. Now, I will go over examples of all that we have seen for this. Okay, so now you understand what I'm saying. Now, how to update this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, remember that this is going to help you fill the chart, the
Okay, sir.
lean, and build it. Okay, so let's take the second one. Whose is this? Second one.
Sir Ranjith.
Okay, Ranjith. My own name. Perfect. Okay, Ranjith. So person one, person two is fine. But as I said, you have to understand what this is for solar power, correct? Very good. Now, you have listed the problems here, but you have not confirmed the problems from the people. So what that is doing is for you, it is causing, it will cause you to have a problem in focusing. Okay, so what is happening is here, these are all the problems. What you should have done is these problems should have been problem one, problem two, problem three. And when you went and talked to person one, you said, hey, is this your problem? This your problem? This your problem? And then it would confirm to you that this is the biggest problem that the people have. Okay, so that is one issue. Now, this solution, in this case, you have already assumed the solution, which is fine, but you have to confirm the problem, confirm the pain. Now, the issue with this is similar to here, right, Dhanush? Similar to what Bharat did. Person one, person two, I hope are in that same segment. They are either rural customers, because if I look at this, right, it seems to be very, very different. I can't tell. So, for example, difficult to get access to electricity. Is that because the person is in a rural place and therefore there are no electric lines coming? Okay, which is very different from someone who's in the city who's got high electricity bills, or if someone is in a village which is far away from Bangalore, right? Frequent cuts, power cuts, Bangalore, no, maybe in some other place, right? So it is critical to get this person's profile because they are different segments. They are different customer segments. What do I mean by customer segments? A urban person belongs to, and you will have to do this as you, it's important to understand the customer segments. And I'll explain that when we see the go through the whole thing again. But if I look at this, right, if I look at this, you have given the person, you stated the problem, but you have not confirmed the problem from them. You've got one problem from one person, second person gave a completely different problem, and that could be because they are different customer segments. Okay, and then unique feature of your product. Okay, so now you have actually gone to the next stage. You have said the solution is solar project, solar energy, and now you have the unique solution for it, which is good. But our question for the ask was to confirm the pain, because here's the reason. If these five persons, only one said frequent cut was a problem, then your solution was not meeting the segment's issues. Okay, so now what you see is unique solution, unique feature. There are several here. That's not unique then. You have to, after you have understood the problems of your segment, then you have to say the unique solution is X. So you got all these features. Well, which one is unique to your product and unique and absolutely essential for the largest segment? So now, why do I say segment is important? You have to pick a segment which you can make a difference for. For instance, here, if you say this is a rural customer, the solution is going to be, I put a plant, a solar plant in this village. You can say in the village or in a small section of the village. Whereas if you go to the urban area, you will have a solution for specifically, I have got a solar panel for heater, water heater, water pump. So it's a very different solution. Okay. Now, cost structure. Okay, this is important. You know what the cost structure is, because then it will say, will the segment you're going to, will it be able to pay for it? So now, again, let's go back to the segment. If you say the segment which is not, which you're going to target, customer segment is rural villages, okay? Then the question becomes, are they willing to pay this 80K, 100K rupees per kilowatt? If the answer is no, they don't have the resources for that, your solution is useless. There's no one to pay for that. On the other hand, if you said your solution was for the urban person, then you know they can pay. And you have a targeted solution for something. That is, you're saying it's a solar panel for water heating, right? Then it works. Okay. So that's why it's important to understand the segment very clearly, what their pains are. And then, of course, the cost, now you're going into the solution, which is very important. So the marketing today, which we'll discuss later, is what is the price, what exactly is the product, but it is aimed at a customer segment. Okay, so that's why this exercise that you did is extremely important. Features, right? Again, once the solution is in place, then the features. Now, what we were doing so far was the intent to understand the problem before we are going to the solution. But in this case, we have thought of the solution, it's okay. And that's not wrong. Generally, what happens is people have an idea, they know what to do, but now they have to be very clear that there is a market for what they do. That's what we're trying to figure out here. Okay, usable quotes. Now, the ask in the initial table was, when you interview someone and they say, I have frequent power cuts, the usable quote is really for them to emphasize the pain point. So this whole exercise of the table was for pain point, not the solution. Okay. The solution comes post that. So here you're saying infinite electricity. What you're really telling me is this is a quote for marketing to them, which is not opposite of what I asked for, right? Here, what I would have expected is in the interview, the person would have said, I've got so many cuts. It cuts in 24 hours, I have 8 power cuts. And that is just unacceptable. Or I get power cuts during the day when I most need it. That is the quote. Okay. So the quote is associated with the pain point. Now, how do you use that quote is what you have said. So this is for marketing, for USP or marketing. You would say, your problem, I can solve your problem with infinite electricity. Okay. So that is the usable quote here is opposite of what I was asking for, which is really during the interview, they said this to do what? To emphasize on the problem. High electricity bill. Oh, this is ridiculous. My bill is bigger than the cost I pay for XYZ. Then that's a quote. So you know that cost of the electricity is a big pain for the user. I mean, cost, everything has a cost. The question is, how burdensome is the cost? And you get that with the quote. Okay. So now you see, yeah, your feature says no electricity bill. Okay. But the thing is, there is maintenance of the solar panel, cleaning of the solar panel, update, short circuit. Okay. So this is, okay. So this one I wanted to specifically talk about. Is the short circuit a problem with the electricity source, or is it a problem with the wiring? Here, I believe the short circuit is because the wiring is bad. And whether it is solar power, you will still have the short circuits if the wiring is bad. So that is something which you have to, clarify. But it's good that you have put this in place. Now you know what I was asking for. You have certain things. You still need to go and confirm based on the customer segment very clearly. This customer segment for people in this area, this is happening. Okay, because then your solution is very pointed. You can see a solar project means a lot, means many different things. Are you going to give a fixed unit for everyone? That is one way to go about it. The other way is I will build a solar panel or a solar project for every household. Or you heard Akhilesh, the person in Myanmar, right? He was building solar plants for full villages. Okay, so very different how you see these segments, how you tailor the solution. Okay, so you have to be very precise when it comes to your report. These questions will come up. Oh, solar project. Okay, solar project is a very broad term. I am building a solar entity for heating, for appliances, or solar setup for individual houses, or solar setup for communities of 10 houses. Okay, so and all of that starts from knowing your customer segment. Which segment am I talking to? Am I talking to the village? Am I talking to a person in the village? Am I talking to a person in the city? Okay, so and all that goes into the your lean canvas. Okay, so now I want to give you an example. Okay, this is just an example of what I would expect in this table. So the example I'm going to take is, who had that example of tomato produce? Okay, so I have taken your example here. Okay, and I would have expected your chart. I did not see a chart from you yet, but your chart would have looked something similar to this. So I talked to farmer one. Okay, it's a farmer has, so the problem is farmer has a tomato crop and he's not able to sell the entire crop for the day to a middleman. The middleman may take 70%, sometimes 50%, based on the need for the day. Now, tomato is something which perishes. So the farmer eats the loss of any wastage, right? So then let's see. So we go to farmer one and says, and here is the hypothesis, right? The problem statement. One is I can't find a buyer. Two is I lose money every time my crop is not sold. Three, oh, I can sell it, but I can't send it. I have a problem with transporting. Now, this was not part of your initial list, but I listed it as a potential problem based on what I would expect from the farmer. So I talked to farmer one. Farmer one says, yes, I have a difficult time finding a buyer because I have to go to only one guy and he decides how much he wants to buy. Yes, I lose money because 30%, 40% of it is going to be lost. Do you have a transport problem? No, 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 no. I just go take it to the village, or they come and pick it up from me. So I don't have a transport problem. When the tomatoes are there, I can either take it to this place very easily. And so transporting it is not an issue. Transporting it to the final buyer, okay, is not a problem. There is no, it is, I sell it to the local buyer, so I don't have a problem to send it to someone else. So current resolution is, what does he do? When he has excess crop, he sells it at a discount of 75% to someone in town who then cuts it and makes a pickle out of it. So that's what farmer one says. Okay. Sell it to that guy, the last, or it goes waste. He could also say, It goes waste. I put compost. I make it a compost. So then what is the usable quote that you can use? During the interview, the farmer says, I wish I had a list of potential buyers who I can intimate or tell whenever I have excess crop available. Okay, that's what the quote is. Because I think the solution proposed here was an app. Now I can poke holes in that one by saying, okay, you're saying you're going to build an app. Do these farmers use apps? Use phone? So that is a question that would be posed, right? So that's why it's important to understand the segment. So farmer 2 belongs to the same segment. And in that case, I ask a second farmer, do you have a problem finding a buyer? He says, no, I don't have a problem finding a buyer. Do you lose money? Yes, I can find the second buyer. They're always willing to cut the price on me, but I can find them easily. So getting a list of potential buyers is not useful for me. I already have it. Then is it hard to transport? Yeah, the problem I really have is I have this list of potential buyers, but once one of them says I want to buy, getting it to them is my problem. It takes 10 hours to get it to the end user. By then, some of my tomato is lost, goes bad, and therefore I lose money because of that. So finding a buyer is not a problem for me. Getting it to them is a problem for me. And I lose money because it takes too much time. I wish there was a way to get produce, the tomatoes, to the buyer within 2 hours, because it takes me 10 hours right now. And that means there's a lot of wastage along the way. It takes more time than it should, and therefore some of it gets bad. Okay, what is the current resolution? I have a resolution, which is I send it once I have extra tomatoes that the middleman has not bought. I have got a list of buyers. I send it to one of them. I know who wants it at that point, and I send it through a courier to that person. But along the way, he takes 10 hours, and therefore 50% of it gets bad. And therefore, I'm losing money. I wish I could get a courier system or something else, an alternative to the courier system, which will get my tomatoes to the person more easily. Or an alternative way where I can send it to a hub, where the hub, all my buyers are there. Right now, my buyers are all over the place. Okay, so that is farmer 2. Now, that is one segment. Now I go to the other segment. I feel that, hey, I can solve the problem better from the produce buyer's perspective. Okay, I happen to, I'm going to talk to different people in the supply chain. See, the farmer says, I usually sell it to a middleman, and that's the produce buyer. So talk to the produce buyer. Okay. Do you have a problem? Why is it that you don't buy 100% from the farmer? Well, the problem is I cannot sell it to people who are buying if I buy 100% of the profit of the produce from the farmer. The reason is I end up going there at 6 o'clock. By 4 o'clock, all the buyers have actually bought. So there are days when I am not able to get to the wholesale market before 6 a.m. So I end up losing. Do you lose money? Yes, I lose money. What is the reason for you ending up at 6 o'clock as opposed to 4 o'clock? Sometimes my truck is full. I cannot take on more. So now I have to make 2 trips. First trip is at 4, next trip is at 6. So now that is my issue. I don't have a truck. So his problem here is he can't find a buyer. He's losing money and he has a hard time transporting. So this is the second person in the chain. So now, if your solution is aimed at initially at the farmer, you might decide, no. You know what? I can give my app not to the farmer, but this produce buyer. which will then automatically help the farmer because he's going to take 100% of his produce going forward. But you have to see who has the biggest pain and where you'll address it. Okay. So current resolution, well, I don't have a resolution. I mean, this is how I work. Is there a usable code? Yeah. I wish I had unlimited transport capabilities or the ability to buy 100% from every farmer that I talk to, right? So that may be a usable code here. So this was an example for farmer produce. Now, let me pause there. Can you think now about your own idea and fill this table with a lot more conviction? If the answer is no, then you need to ask me why, what is the problem? What problem do you see doing that? ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ.
Yes, sir. Understood.
Okay, so you see your own idea and you know how to fill this for your idea now.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So, and I'm telling you, this is going to be very critical. Okay. So now I want to go to next step. I want to give you examples, right, of all the folks who have already done it. Those who see, I can only give feedback for those who have done it. And yeah, if you make a mistake, it's okay. You can rectify it. Now's the time to rectify. And these next 3 weeks are going to be critical to rectify and get to a point where you can fill out your lean canvas. Okay, so now I want to take examples, each one. So again, the whole idea is to help you fill out. See, all this that we talked about, this whole exercise was to help you fill out these specific things in your lean canvas. And what is that? Number one, what is the customer segment? Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, again, examples so that you can think about your own and ensure you're doing the correct thing. So yesterday I got a whole bunch of those tables. Some of them were in the form of a email, which is fine. Okay, before I go to that, there were a set of folks who did not send me the table. Instead, they went deeper on the 3 ideas. So at this point, as of this last time, you should have honed in on one idea, because what you have done is you had 3 ideas. You looked at all the problems, you looked at who you can talk to, and then said, I will pick this idea. So by now you should be on one idea. I don't remember, there were 3 or 4 people who sent the 3 ideas again with a lot more detail. So the detail is actually good for you to analyze and say, okay, which one will I pick? See, someone said, oh, there is snow and water can cause problems. Obviously, it has come from ChatGPT or some internet source, which is not a problem in India at all. Snow and all that is only Himachal Pradesh, maybe. So you have taken details or you have found something online and you have put it there without understanding that the whole idea is here you have to be very custom. You need to understand who you're selling to, what their problem is. Okay, so I'm going to tell those guys who have sent 3 ideas, you need to, these next 3 weeks is your time to catch up. But here it is. Now, those who did send me, here are some of the segments that you have to be thinking about. So there was an idea for a gym app, which is a good idea, right? And so now I would say, who's the customer segment here? So he referred to the person as a bodybuilder. Okay, that is the customer segment. He talked to a few bodybuilders. Whose idea was that, by the way? Gym okay. What's your name?
Chandan.
Is that
Chandan.
Vardhan?
Chandan.
Chandan, yes. Okay, Chandan. So your segment is bodybuilders. Now, when I say segment, you can think of bodybuilders in different classes. Young bodybuilders, old bodybuilders, sports bodybuilders, right? And each one has a different need. What did you hear from your interviews? Oh, I don't have time, right? Now, when a bodybuilder says they don't have time, that means bodybuilding is low on their priority. Okay. Now, this is a piece of advice. Whenever you say you don't have time, there is no such thing which says that there is no time. What you mean by saying you don't have time is it is lower in my priority. That's why I don't get to it. So, when a bodybuilder says I don't have time, what it means is bodybuilding is a low priority for him. Now, it is a low priority because it is a, if possible, I can do it. However, there are segments of bodybuilders who have to do it. Who are they? One is sports people, two old people. If they don't do it, they're going to be in bad shape. Okay, so when you look at bodybuilder, you have to understand also what are the different sub segments within the bodybuilder. Okay, so I'm just calling it out so you think about that when you are filling out your customer segments. House builder. Okay, someone wants to build a house, so there were multiple house construction kind of thing. Now, when I say house construction, it has to be precise. Which segment? Is it the householder or is it the actual constructor, agents or contractors who build houses? In this case, I think the idea was I am a house builder. Okay. House builders, how many times in your life are you going to build a house? Once, twice, thrice, maybe three times. Okay. So your average age of people is 62. Three times in that, they will build a house. Each house building exercise will take them 3 years. Three times. So total of 9 years in their life, they will be focused on house building. Rest of the time, they are not. So what that tells you is that segment is at any given time, how many houses are being constructed is what you need to look at, right? And they are not a segment you can sell an app to, which they will subscribe to. Why? They will not buy into a subscription for years and years. It's only during that construction period that they will take your service or buy your product. So you need to know that. Then, if we say no, the contractor is my customer segment, the house building contractor, then that's a different segment. This guy is building all the time. He's not 3D times. It's only three times in the whole lifetime. That's his job. So he is probably much more willing to buy into a subscription concept because he's doing all the time. He wants to know the latest. Whereas this other house builder, he wants to know what is important at a given time. Rules, regulations at this time, what are they? I don't care what it was 10 years ago. I don't care what it is going to be later. I want to meet the specification. Okay. So I'm telling you how you have to think about your segments. Then there was the example we just talked about was the solar energy. So the electricity consumer is the customer segment. Farmer, we talked about farmer. Now you can say a transporter, a produce transporter is the other one, he's the middleman, if you will. And then there was another example. Someone wanted to do a example of drivers who are driving from Kanakpura to Bangalore. Is who was that? It, okay.
Dhanush.
What's the name?
Dhanush.
Dhanush. Okay. So Dhanush, yeah. So you had this example of the drivers, right? So your segment is very clear. Those people surrounding Bangalore who are driving to Bangalore intercity. That is your segment you're trying to help, or that is the segment for which you are building your application or solution. And then there was an example on water condensation. So there was a very good set of interviews. I did not see a table there where water condensation. Who did that water condensation?
Nikhil.
What's the name
Nikhil.
again? Nikhil. Okay. So water drinker. Water drinker is the whole world. 7 billion people. Okay. So that's a huge segment. And again, here also the way you would segment it is rural, urban, or in this case, there was an example which was very important, which was humidity is required. So then condensation example may work better in Chennai than in Bangalore. We may not want to go and sell it in Chennai. So you will say water drinkers in Chennai or water drinkers on the coastal belt of India. Because there is humidity, condensation works better. Okay, so that customer segment is very important. Now let's see what problems that they said. You know the customer segment. Then if you look at the problems, this is just one. And here we are asking for three. But during your interviews, you would have to find out what the problems were. So the bodybuilder said, I have no time. House builder said, I can't find a contractor. I can't find a good contract. I can't find a reliable contractor. I cannot find an honest contractor, whatever that is, right? That is the problem. The flip side, I think Chinmay had this example of house building. Now, in his example, he had both these listed. Someone else also said the problem is finding a laborer, good laborer at a local, in the local arena at a good cost. Okay, the contractor has a problem finding laborers. So that is the problem. Why they are not local? Two, they don't seem to be reliable. Whatever it is, right? Those are the problems for the contractor. See, I've taken the same customer segment and I'm saying what their problem was based on what? After the conversation, after the interviews. And then and I'm after confirming it, right? So you made the hypothesis. In some cases, you already have listed the hypothesis. So whoever did the examples of using internet and chat GPT, they tell you these are the problems, or they may say the flip side. They say the benefits are, okay. If they say the benefits are this, then the problem is the flip of the benefit. So now you need to confirm it for your segment, for the segment you're going after, right? They say it for the world audience. Your audience is not the world. Your audience as a entrepreneur is who you are targeting in India, right? We always said it has to be an Indic problem. So telling me that there are snow and sleet, that is not an Indian problem. Okay. So now we go to the next one, electric consumer. The consumer has, what is their problem? The quality is poor, it's unreliable, or it is unavailable. There is no electricity coming to my town at all. Farmer is saying, I do not have a buyer for my produce. A producer, transport producer, he said, I don't have the best vehicles, or even if I get a vehicle, the road is full of potholes, so I can't go more than 20 kilometers an hour. Then Kanakpura driver, the problem I heard in that description was, well, one question was, why is the Kanakpura driver having so much trouble? There is this Uber, there is Ola. If he gets onto it, he can get a ride or a fare, that is someone else driving back to Kanakpura, on his phone. Oh, he doesn't use phone. That's a problem. That is his problem. Okay, if he doesn't, then what? Then what solution would you give them? Then water drinker around the world for the condensation idea is, I get poor quality water. or two, it is simply not available. I don't have potable water. So then the alternatives or competition in this case, right? Alternatives to what? Alternatives to an idea you have thought about. Or they could also be that they already exist in the market, but they don't work well. Therefore, the customer segment says, I have a problem. Okay, so bodybuilder, there are several online apps. They can go to the gym, which is close by. They say no time. If their issue is no time, what if the gym were right in your building, right? That's an option. Or two, there are online apps or trainers coming on online apps. This is what is the option they have. And your idea is somewhat similar, but you need to know how it is differentiated. So that's what the unique value. Okay, my app is one which they can do anytime, anywhere, because they don't have to go to the gym. They can do anywhere, anytime. Is that, that could be the value proposition. Or the other is, and I asked you to look at Habuild, right? So this is a yoga instructor, and his whole proposition is this: if you need to build a habit, and what I'll do is I'll show a set of exercises 5 times a day. You join anytime you want. And by the way, you don't have to drive to the gym, or you don't have to get a bus to the gym. You do it on your computer. It comes on your computer. So your app idea may work. But again, my question was, why app? Why not a browser-based solution? Okay, so that is a bodybuilder example. Alternatives for a house builder. See, if the house builder has a problem finding the regulations, finding a good contractor, can he go to an agent who will do it all for him? Okay, so that may be an answer. That is the alternative he has. And that is the competition to any app that you build. So your app is one, but house builder thinks, if I go to the app, I have to do it's a DIY, do it yourself. But if I go to this agent, he'll do it all for me. I'll pay him a small fee, but now he will take care of all these issues and give me peace of mind. Okay, so if peace of mind is one of the problems, then agent can also do it. So that is competition to your app. Contractor, again, he may become an agency. Then electricity consumer, right? Okay, what is an alternative to solar project? A diesel generator. Well, that's an option. Then what is an option to a farmer trying to sell his product with his app? Well, he's part of a cooperative. Then he's not even going to look at your app. Then produce transporter may have some other alternative where he goes to a transport agency which will transport whatever size he wants whenever he wants. So that is he's got an alternative. Then the Kanakpura travel alternative is Ola and Uber. If he can use the phone, but if he says that my problem is I don't know how to use a phone, then this is not an alternative. His only alternative is to put an advertisement and get it. Then water drinker, what are his alternatives? If water condensation is not an option, then he goes to a tanker. He gets a tanker come to his house or in his neighborhood. He does rainwater harvesting. He or she does rainwater harvesting and now has drinking potable water. So these are alternatives. So this is competition. Okay, competition could be other existing examples. So solar energy. Well, there are so many companies which say we will come and install solar energy for you. Okay, that is your competition. How would you be better for the segment? See, again, these are all very strongly tied, and that's why we keep insisting. I keep harping, the pain point has to be clear. If today there are some solutions, they are not applicable to this particular segment, and maybe they left that segment out. Why? Because they know they cannot pay, or they feel that this segment will not be willing to pay, and therefore I will leave that segment out. Okay, so unique value. Now we come to, okay, I know all the alternatives. Now, what is it that my solution brings to the table, which is better than the alternative? So, bodybuilder, you can do it anytime, anywhere. House builder, all the agents that you want are listed. Now, my solution is helping you find an agent. Okay. And then contractor, finding all the list of laborers who are available. And that is my app that lets you do that. So again, they have to be very well tied to the problem, and you have to be precise. You cannot have, okay, these are the 15 problems that I'm going to solve. And what does that mean? You have to do so many different things. So honing in on the problem and making sure that that is really a problem and that is something people are willing to pay for, right? So there is something called needs and wants. Needs means you have to do it. Without that, and the example I'll give you is, you're an Olympic weightlifter, then bodybuilding is a must for you. You have to do it. It's not like it's secondary. On the other hand, you work in the office. Is bodybuilding your absolutely essential? No. I would like to have a nice body, but I have to work. I have to work in the office much more time. I don't know how much time. So again, very important. Which segment are you going after? What is their problem? And how is your solution going to be better than anything else in the market today? Okay, so now we have 10 minutes. I am going to talk about, what I went over was this section. So today I'm going to talk about this last part here, these three boxes. And the remaining boxes is the financial section. So I'll take, well, 5 minutes is enough. This is the marketing section. So what is marketing? Marketing is how do I have to have a plan which encompasses everything. So it goes back to the point that you need to know your segment very well. Then how does the product address the problem? So that's the piece of the product which is part of the marketing plan. Place, where will you sell it? How will you sell it? What price will you cost for it? Promotion. Promotion means, will I advertise it? Okay, so now let's see, look at all these 4 points and how they are important to fill those 3 boxes. So if you look at those boxes, in the what you're trying to do is, hey, what is a high level message, right? Which is like, my solution is the Uber for intercity applications, or my application, my solution is the Uber for Kanakpura Bangalore road. That is how you would put it. That way, why do you do that? The reason you do that is, if people have a way of doing certain things and your application fits that model, it is much easier for adoption. If on the other hand, you have to explain what it is and you have to tell them what you're doing and they don't get what you're doing, that's a harder sell. Okay. You have to change the way they were doing things. Difficult, much more difficult. You have to spend a lot of time explaining and doing things. So channel means, how will you sell it? Say you're doing a solar panel. Will you sell it to individual householders? If it's a customer segment, yes, you might start by selling it to a few villages. Then you're going to the electric shop in the village, and that is your partner, that is your channel. You're going to list your capabilities with that guy. Why? Because the householders come to him and say, I want a solar panel, and he'll say, I don't do it, but here is the person. Have you spent anything on ad? No. It's your channel. Through whom? Through agencies. So that's called a channel, path to customer. And then early adopters, you need this because you see customer segments, there are big segments, and then you want a target audience which you start with. For example, for the example for contractor building. So you might say your early adopters are the 10 builders 10 people who are now currently building houses in this village or in Bangalore, there are about 100 people, I will go to them. Or you know some contractor who interacts with 15 house builders. So then that is your initial adopter. You want to use them or sell your idea to those people first. Okay, so that's called the initial, and they have all the problems, they are very clearly in the segment that you defined. So that's an early adopter. So that's what you're trying to fill with this go-to-market plan. Now, the product, you have to have, part of marketing is you have to have a unique selling value proposition, which is how is it different from the competition that is there. Okay. Price. Now, okay, this is going to be very important. And this is tying to what I was asking, right? If you choose a certain segment, you need to know how much they're willing to pay, how big of a problem it is. That's how much they're willing to pay for it. Then you already saw that construction workers, when they want to build a house, when someone wants to construct a house, they want laborers who are within the price range, right? Same way, your product, they will not buy unless it is within a price range that makes sense. Promotion, where will you advertise? Do you need to advertise? If you need to advertise, will you advertise it on the buses that is in that area? Or will you advertise it on the radio, on YouTube, on the social media? So now someone said we are going to build an app. So my question to you is, there are 30,000, 90,000 apps on Apple Store, 90,000 apps on Android. How will people find your app? You can't go, will you be going and telling everyone? How will you make your app bubble up? So that is a promotion, that's an advertisement. How will you get in promotion? In advertising, you need to reach the person who will make the decision of buying. How will you reach them? You have to put an ad where they go. So if you are selling your application or solution in Bangalore and you go and advertise in Chennai, is it reaching them? No. So that's why you need to know exactly, and this is the marketing plan. How will I get to the buyer? How will I get it to the ears of the people who need to hear it? Place, where will you sell the offering? That's all. That's the place part. You will go to a store and put it, or will you put it in a fair, in a conference? So these are all, and then channels. I talked about channels, right? Will you sell it directly to the buyer or through some medium, right? Going through an agent, going through a shop. So that's very different. That is where you will put it. And is it possible that you use retailers first, then I go to the wholesaler and I sell my solution to the wholesaler, because they have channels through which they've got 50 shops. So then I go and sell it to the person who has 50 shops. Now I don't have to sell it to the end user. I have to sell it to the person who has the shops. Okay, so this was marketing, and what this will help you do is think through and fill in this. So now let's get to what you have to do for the next class. So this is, as I said, this is important. The next class is going to be your way to catch up. You are going to fill out all of these except 3 boxes, 1, 2, and 3. These 3 boxes, which is key metrics, cost structure, and revenue. These are related to operations and finance, which I will cover on September 8th. Your job is to take I'll send a empty version of this. So you get a box and you have to fill out these boxes, these colored boxes with your idea, what the problem is. And it's not just about three lines here. You have to have a lot of thought, as you heard right now. A lot of thought has to go in based on your research. You're going to put it, because when you put it and it doesn't match, it will just show up. It's like, okay, you are going to sell something to people in the village, but your ads are going to Bangalore. That's a problem, right? So all this and will be apparent. And I gave you examples tying them together with what I have so far. So you have to take the time now, if necessary, make additional calls to get a better handle. Now is the time. So you have 3 weeks. So September 8th is the next class. I want you to send me your homework 2 days before that. So September 6th, my time. So by Friday, which is September 6th, Friday, September 6th, you have to send me this thing filled out. Okay? Is that okay? All got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And if you have any questions, right, maybe Sripad, I'll talk to Sripad and see what we can do in between the next 3 weeks, right? So we'll see. But September 6th is your deadline. You have to send it to me in one sheet. PDF is what you're sending, is fine. Okay, so let's conclude. We are at time, 2 minutes past. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay. All right. See you all. See you in 3 weeks. Bye bye.
Thank you, sir. Bye, sir.
Bye.